Hello, everybody. I hope you're doing well. PieCover. Let's talk hyperinflation. And I think we're going in hyperinflation. And when I say that, I mean that in the terms of how high prices gonna go. Well, it's not necessarily prices that's gonna go up. It's most importantly the value of those currencies that gonna go down. In converting those goods and services in Bitcoin and gold, they're gonna stay the same or they're gonna drop, right? The value. But when compared to national currencies or political currencies, they will go up a lot. So not necessarily that the value change, but it's mostly gonna be because of the currency that's weakening in the underneath. So this is a problem we're gonna have to deal with, and I see this confusion in society. You have all those people talking about inflation, all those numbers, Fed is fighting it, and all those things. One thing they miss is that this is the process of hyperinflation. This is always like that. People always try to fix it, right? It goes up and then they, suddenly reacted to it and trying to, cap it, trying to slow it down. Right? First of all, right, the government trying to slow down inflation, that's a bad sign to me, right? That's the first. I don't care. I don't need to ask any other question. It's like, if they're trying to fight it, that means it's a big problem, right? Think about it. A government, that's a big thing, right? And if they're trying to fight a little thing like inflation, no, it's not a small problem. It's a big problem, right? Think about it. How long have they been fighting that inflation and it's still, going up? And even though the numbers are fake numbers, right? We know food prices are more than double in the past 2 years. Right? We know food prices of gas, right, close to double. So it's just a matter of time until people realize, hey, this thing is here forever. It's not gonna stop. And they can drain the oil reserve. They can start new wars, slow down the economy. Anything they do won't help, right? So, and most importantly, if you want to be specific to the US, is that they have a debt problem, right? They have a debt problem, and that debt requires them to print money, right, to stay afloat. It's not because they want to, because they have to. If they don't, they default. It's a hard default. But every time they soft defaulting every couple months by printing. So, the interest in the debt is not even payable, honestly. Right? They can't even pay that with the income, with the revenues. They have to print to pay that interest. So you see the problem? The reason I'm specific to the US is because not because it's the only US problem. It's a world problem. It's because the US currency, right, is the currency, the world, you know, when a country, right, currency is failing, everybody run to the US dollar, right? Argentina, right now, they want to dollarize, right? The public, the nation want to dollarize, but the government don't want that, right? So the next election is, part of it is centralizing that talk, right? Dollarizing, because the peso is nothing. So government want to stay relevant. They want to have source of income, right? So that's why they don't want to have money they can't print. So, well, if you want to stay relevant, you have to provide a service so people are willing to pay for it. So you are able to make money. But government are not productive. They know they cannot compete in the free market. They're not providing any good, useful service. So they want to force you to use the money that through that they can steal from you by printing it, right? It's like invisible theft that's happening in the background. So now, and I want to go back to the US dollar, because that's the currency everybody float into when they have a problem. So what happened when the US dollar is failing? What happened when the cleanest shirt is no longer cleaner, is a dirty shirt as well? What happened? Well, people will be looking for other better money, right? They will be asking, where is the better money out there, right? Because it can't just be the US dollar, right? Because remember, money flows to the best money, right? All the source values, it will go to the best money, right? Some people will use cows, some people will use house, some people will use so many things, but you can't, leave your country with a cow. You can't leave your country with a house. You can't leave your country with the gold. You can leave the country with the Bitcoin. So this is what it comes down to. And maybe you don't want to leave your country. Now, what if they tax those houses out of Bolivian? What if then the income tax is too high, right? You can no longer afford to maintain it. Well, you sell it, where you put the money. What if you have too much gold, right? So where you take it, right? So somebody don't steal it, maintain it, and there's so many things. And the cow, right? Maybe you don't want to have 20 cow. Maybe you just want to have 10 cow. Where you put, when you sell the other 10, where do you put the money? You can't put it on the peso. So when the US dollar, right, it's starting there, right? Now I would say maybe it's at 20% inflation, like when real goods and services and flight. Now what happened when it gets to 50% a year, right? So that's gonna be crazy, and this is gonna be real fun, because when you get to 50% inflation a year, because I know it's gonna get there, because one of the main reasons it's gonna get there because of the money printing, right? It's because of all the banks that are failing right now. Those bank failures will result in more money printing. So when you think about just the Bank of America, it's in the almost close to 200 billion losses, unrealized losses. I don't know if you guys understand what that means. That means a lot, right? Right? Just close to $250 billion, right? $250 billion for them, just one bank of unrealized losses. What they're gonna do? They're gonna get that bailout money from the Fed. What's the Fed? The Fed doesn't have it. They have to print it. Well, okay, it's like you save me, who save you? Right? Okay. Well, they're gonna print it, and then from the public, right? The nation will pay for it. Okay, what's the Fed? The Fed is a private company. It's owned by the banks. Okay. What's the banks? The banks are the ones who are failing. You see, it's like it's such a parasitic, relationship between you and the government, and they don't really care, right? So, and you say, well, I'm not in the U.S., who cares? Well, you're still affected because your money, your currency is a derivative to that reserve currency. So that's a burden you have to pay, right? You still have to pay that burden. Like the longer the US dollar stays reserve currency, the longer you have to pay for it to stay relevant. And that's why you see all those wars all over the world. So, anyways, I just want to leave it there, guys. This was PieCover. And yeah, so stack sats, stay humble, as the saying that goes. And I'll see you again in the next talk. Hope you enjoy. Thank you for listening. PieCover.